One campaign, you'd done amazing, James sent this big campaign out. We had a really busy day, like 50, 60 orders in a day, and they'd printed them all twice. And we found out that all the orders had been dispatched twice. It was like, these are £30 a jar, so we're looking at thousands of pounds of stock's been sent out. We're like, what do we do? They had an outsourced fulfilment company up in Norfolk, in an old post-war cold store.
Yes.
And the orders used to come in and get printed off on the top floor, and then someone would take them on sheets of paper printed down 4 flights of stairs. They'd pick and pack the order, they'd write on it had been packed, and then the piece of paper would come back upstairs. And we had one campaign, you'd done amazing, James sent this big campaign out. We had a really busy day, like 50, 60 orders in a day, and they'd printed them all twice. And we found out that all the orders had been dispatched twice. It was like, these are £30 a jar, so we're looking at thousands of pounds of stock's been sent out. We're like, what do we do?
It's the other way around, right? The Tuesday was sent out, and then the next day the Tuesday was sent out again.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we hadn't known about this warehouse particularly. Obviously, this is back and forward between a sales office and a warehouse, but we had very little idea of how they did what they did. And it really was that double sending of our biggest campaign ever.
Yeah.
Which was a huge problem for the company. Actually, a solution for the company was they phoned everyone up and apologised. And
I phoned everyone up.
You should.
It was my job. I phoned everyone up.
And they paid. Like
we gave them 10% off. We gave them 10% off if they would keep the second order, and every single person kept it. So that's a good marketing technique, by the way. Send everything out twice and then apologise profusely.
We never tried it again. No matter
we didn't. It was a risky strategy to go. Where did that come? That come from you going, this issue's happened, I now need to react to it, I need to
fix it. It was my problem. It fell on my plate of this is, and it wasn't our fault, it was the fulfillment company who'd done it, and it was like, well, what do we do? And I was like, well, they're clearly not going to pay compensation. They're making £1 an order. They're not going to pay compensation for £3,000 of stock. What do we do about it? So that was kind of, I'll just ring them all. I used to love cold calling and phoning people back then.
That gave us the reason to go to this facility and see the bizarre way.
Well, I'd been before, and it wasn't fantastic.
I didn't believe you. Anything as you thought it was.
It was fine. It was just very paper based. There was lots of scribbles on bits of paper and things like that.
And they were cross checked against pencil marks on boxes.
Yeah.
When you took stuff out of the box, you just write what you took out of the box. So it's never.
And then I think the nail in the coffin. We didn't have lots of stock left, and so we'd do these campaigns. We'd have to be selling the last jars, and then we got the stock report back on a Friday, and it always came through as an Excel spreadsheet by email. But depending on when they picked and packed the Friday orders, depended on when the bits of paper came back upstairs. So some Fridays, the stock report would be accurate after orders were packed, and sometimes the stock report would be accurate before the orders were packed. But because it wasn't online and you couldn't actually see what had been done, you never knew. So you're always plus or minus, at best, you're plus or minus a day's worth of orders. At worst, there was a load of other stuff that you couldn't find that wasn't there. And so we always had inventory that was out of date because it had been left around, set there, or we'd had not enough and we had to refund orders.
The particulars of some of the things they made out of the honey were quite difficulty with shelf stability, so you really had to send them out fresh. Batches were really important to these guys, and managing a batch system just adds a whole dimension of complexity to stock stuff.
So how did that conversation go of that fulfillment centre? So going back to kind of the challenging side you've gone through.
We went out and said, let's just go move it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just move it somewhere else, and that will make my headache go away. You can do a better job of these campaigns because you know exactly how many jars you've got left. And we went to go and visit 2 or 3 different fulfillment companies.
It's more than that. I think by the time we thought this must be the worst fulfillment company in the southeast.
Yeah.
And we just were lucky.
It wasn't.
And then we went round. Everyone we went to were like, hold on a second. I don't want to move from this one that we know.
We went to one, if I remember, that was very modern, high-tech, like proper nice lighting, clean floors, similar kind of to what we have here, nice looking. It wasn't colourful, and their IT system, they said, it's the latest in IT, everything else. The server's just downstairs in the office. And I was like, well, that's not great. Yeah, we push it to the cloud every hour. And then if you put your orders online, you can push them up to a server and we'll go and look at it every hour. Which meant that when you placed an order in the shop, it would take an hour to get from there to the middleware server, and then an hour from that server down to their server, and then it would get picked and packed, updated, and then later on they'd update an hour later back to the middle. So it could be a number of hours between you looking online at what's happened and them actually having done it. Which meant what you'd always get as a customer, for context, because everyone thinks e-commerce, 99% of the stuff goes through fine, it doesn't matter. Time's not relevant. But the one customer that places an order says, I've just placed an order and I've missed something off, or I want to add, or I want to change it. Can I just change my order? And you're like, let me just phone the warehouse and find out whether or not they've shipped it. And then this ping pong of tennis goes like, you phone the warehouse, they have to go down to the floor, no one knows what's happened. No one's got any idea where the order is for hours.
Not reading off the same sheet.
Yeah. And so that obviously is then the inspiration for
Well, we feel
where we are
stuck
now.
because it's like, well, we can move it better, but it's not going to be significantly better.
So just talk me through that journey you guys went on. So you've identified, you've gone out and said, right, that's awful, that's awful, that's awful. Again, did you sit down, you're in a pub and go, and do you know what? Like we did Bloombox, let's just go off and do this idea.
Well,
Talk me
James
through
wanted
how
to
that
build
conception
overly
came.
complicated IT systems which aren't necessary. So we thought, here's a great opportunity for another IT system. Let's build some software that can solve this, that's fully cloud-based.